Hey guys, it's Ruben from Dubb, and I'm psyched to introduce Jason Perkins here from Bonzo. And Dubb and Bonzo have created a new relationship, and we're really psyched to announce that relationship, but also kind of get into some of the tactical, very specific, very actionable ways to use the Bonzo platform and the Dubb platform, because we've sort of been a little bit of excited about how these two platforms working together can be so powerful. So the first thing I want to do is just introduce Jason. Jason, love to get a little bit of backstory on yourself and what is Bonzo and why you built it.
Dude, Ruben, first of all, thank you so much for having me
Yeah,
just on your show here and your podcast. And your product is amazing. Our clients love it. First of all, I just wanted to say that.
thank
So
you.
you've built a really,
Thank
really
you.
cool product. My
Thank you.
background is in real estate and basically mortgage tech is a little bit is a way you can kind
Okay.
of categorize that. And we saw a gap in the industry on the way that we communicate, just from a real estate perspective, and really our product rolls over to multi-industry at this point. But we built it on the idea that we felt like your typical CRMs were very canned, right? It wasn't authentic, and I feel like we're really moving into this very human to human authentic relationship when it comes down to brands and people. And I looked at so many different companies sending out your canned typical CRM outreach, and the consumer's smart. We know when we're getting fed, a canned outreach rather than a personalized outreach that is driving a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big believer in conversations win. Conversations win over everything. Every sale starts with a conversation. Every relationship starts with a conversation. So how many conversations can we be starting at one time? And that was the big gap that I saw in how we were utilizing a lot of the outreach for our clients. And so myself and my partner decided to build what we didn't see yet. And this is really authentic conversations at scale for sales individuals. If you're in sales and you have a database and you're driving leads and you've got past customers, Bonzo is your platform to drive meaningful conversations at scale. And I'll show you that a little bit too, Ruben, as we get into it. But that's the why of why we created Bonzo, and we started this in 2018. And again, we're just continuing to scale it with amazing partner integrations like you guys. And you again, Dubb has helped our platform grow and become better, and just learn from our customer base. So we're continuing to just build that.
Very cool, man. Thank you so much for saying that. I've heard so many great things about Bonzo, and I'm psyched to get into this. So, one of the things that I'll do just very quickly is kind of give a really quick, probably just a 60-second to 2-minute kind of description on what Dubb is and what problems it solves. And then I'd love to pass the mic over to you and just have you kind of explain specifically what the integration is. So you can kind of verbally describe that, or if you want to get visual, you can share your screen, whatever you're most comfortable with. What I'll do is I'll kind of open up the Dubb dashboard over here, and I'll kind of start with our why. So, I think the problem that we're all suffering from right now, especially now, is this idea of getting people's attention and communicating in a way that gets people to understand truly what we're saying. And after that comprehension happens, to trust us potentially, and then hopefully to do some sort of business with us, a transaction. So, typically if you look at any type of communication outreach that's slightly cold, maybe we'll call it top of funnel, maybe we'll call it, I'm not working with these people yet, whatever phase you might call that. There's a little bit of a chase that's involved in that, historically at least. And, there's a lot of sort of great sayings that are very inspirational. I like to hear those. They're, like the gold is in the follow-up, or, basically don't give up. And I think the challenge though is that if we enter into a realm where we're continually nudging people and bumping people to have them listen to us without actually providing value. And when I say value, I mean value as in getting to know us, value as in something visual in nature, understanding something that can solve a problem. If we lack that type of communication, then we potentially lack an opportunity to have there be some sort of business that might happen between two parties. So Dubb solves that problem by allowing people to communicate with video. So that means with your phone, with your webcam, with your screen. We have a whole suite of tools that allow you to create videos. A desktop recorder, a Chrome extension, an iPhone and Android app. But most importantly, we allow those videos to become actionable, right? So anyone can go to YouTube or LinkedIn or any platform and put a video up there. And those are great platforms. We do that constantly. But what you can't do necessarily is to make those actionable. And I define actionable as calendar integrations, very deep integrated calls to action, links to products, links to forms, form fills, very kind of rich, intelligent ways to provide value and then to give a person, that end user, that video viewer, some sort of a funnel to kind of move down. So it's almost like a choose your own adventure path for video and communication. So that's kind of the why of Dubb. This is the Dubb platform. Again, there's a lot to this platform. So I encourage people to sign up for a free account, and you can get the tutorial videos in there, and you can sort of understand how you can use that for your business. So Jason, I'd love to understand from your perspective on how the Dubb kind of Bonzo integration is changing the game.
Yeah, I think like one thing you said, Ruben, that was really caught my attention, and especially the product, is that it's so easy to use. Like, I think simplicity is that if you have simplicity at its core, think of Apple, right? Why do we adopt products and use them? It's because simplicity is at its core. And Dubb is that, right? And we try to make that with Bonzo as well, is how can we simplify the process of the use case and the user, right? So they get in again, and they're happy to get into it again and move into it. So when it comes down to Dubb integrating with Bonzo, is it okay if I share my screen with you just so I can show you, give you a visual?
That'd be great.
Share my screen real quick, and then we're going to jump over to the actual platform, and I can kind of show you. Can you see my screen, Ruben?
Yeah, we'll actually pull it up right now. Boom, there it is.
Great. So, your typical CRM, like we like to categorize Bonzo as a CRM. I like to call it conversation software or progressive relationship management if we were categorizing in that. But one thing we built this on, very similar to Dubb, is that we built it on simplicity. We didn't want a bunch of bells and whistles. The more bells and whistles you add, the less users that are using your products, right? So simplicity at its core, and what do we want to do at the end of the day is create meaningful conversations with customers, leads, past customers, clients, etc. So again, very simple to navigate. You have your dashboard, and I can just kind of get high level of what this looks like. You have your campaigns, which are your workflows, which I'll talk about in 1 second. You have your people. These are basically your database, right? So you have, this is a test account here, but I can go into this Jazz Perkins here, and I can see past communication. There's a Dubb video sent out right there, and I love the GIF attribute you guys use in the emails. It's a game changer. We love that. There's the call to action within the email that was sent. Again, our customers absolutely love that. But let me show you what this looks like from building it out. We like to say empower the user, empower the salesperson to create conversations. That's at the end of the day, in honest conversation. So very simple to use. We're going to create one from scratch here. We're going to set some settings. The first thing we do is if somebody replies to one of your emails, where do you want that to forward to? We use Bonzo phone numbers. When you sign up for Bonzo, you get your own local phone number. But when someone calls you back, where do you want that to forward to? The name used in your sequence in your outreach is typically just going to be your name. You can set some other settings here too if you want to forward text responses back to your cell phone and set your cutoff times for when people are responding. For instance, if you're doing lead acquisition and somebody requests more information at 2 a.m., well, obviously we don't want that to start until 9 a.m. the next day or 8 a.m. the next day, and you can set those standards yourself. Once we have those sequence settings set, this is where we build out the workflow. And we set this, we customize this, and I like to think of this as the creative part. It's broken down in 3 segments. You have your days, you have what you want to happen, and you have your creative. So on day 1, let's say I want to send out a text message, right? As soon as a customer hits on day 1, what's going to happen? So I can say, hey, prospect first name, right? This is Jason with Bonzo, checking out your Dubb integration. And here's the cool part. This is what everybody loves, is the Dubb integration right here next to load template. I could drop in a video from my library. I can record directly from my interface, right? And I can drop that right in there. Insert the video, and people absolutely love this, right? I can set, again, any templates I have saved in my account. If I like that, I can also add upload media, and I can continue to send more events. So let's say I want to send an email 5 minutes after that text goes out to start that conversation. Again, I can say, hey, prospect first name, right? and then of course create the conversation from there. And then here's the other cool part. Again, I drop in my Dubb video. It even gives that loop, which again we love. It draws that attention in, like you talked about, Ruben. And I can build this out for as long as I want. I can add as many days as I want to over here, and I can set this, and this is going to continue to send until either the customer or the lead responds, or it's a drip, it's a nurture. So as a user, I can customize my outreach as much as possible, because like to say, what we just said a second ago is the fortune is in the follow-up. We as salespeople have so many things going on all at one time. We forget that we need to call back this person or check in on this person, right? And so this allows us to create those conversations, that authenticity at scale. But this is all we do, Ruben. This is it. We don't have like 5,000 other things in the back end that you also have to manage to make sure this works. You build this on, you press go, and that's it, right? And you load your database in. We have a direct integration with Zapier, so you can really pull it in from anywhere that you're pulling your database in from. You can upload people based on a CSV file, and then also you can manually add them in. But we like to keep this at its core, Ruben, very simple, in creating your own customized workflows to create those conversations with your customers, clients, leads, etc.
That's kind of a explosive demo that you just gave me, because it's amazing. It's amazing, and I realized something, that we're here at Dubb, we're doing it the wrong way.
Why is that?
We're doing it the wrong way, because we need to use Bonzo, because what we're doing right now is we actually use Google Voice to send text messages out. Right. So what we do is when people sign up, we send a text messages out through Google Voice. And I actually don't know. I think the reason why we chose Google Voice was because it kind of sends the messages back. And we tested a bunch of different ones, and we didn't really like the idea of not being able to receive a message back. I mean, that seems kind of obvious. So, when you said that the text message forwards to a number, I want to understand that a little bit more, because that's really interesting. And then also the ability to schedule messages. Could you kind of speak to that, like the SMS component? I want to make sure I understand that.
Yeah, so essentially what it works is, you get your own Bonzo phone number. We also have a mobile app that syncs with your web app. So you kind of, when somebody is responding to a text message, you'll get a notification on your actual phone, right? That there's a new response. It'll show you that response, who it's from, but it'll also feed to the in-app, right? The in-app is where we drive that conversation from your Bonzo phone number. And I'm going to share my screen one more time, Ruben, and kind of show you what that looks like as well when we're driving those conversations, because I can go over here into, once somebody does respond, I can go over and to my database, right? I'll obviously get notifications when somebody does respond. It'll show, I'll get like a bell, a notification, and I can just drive the conversation from over here, right? So I can say, hey, Ruben, if they responded via text, I can drive that conversation. If it was an email response, I can do the same thing, right? Again, just drive the conversation depending on how they're responding. And then again, I can also drive the conversation from my mobile app. I can call from my dashboard, or I can also create new emails from my dashboard. One thing I didn't show you too, Ruben, is that we also have an integration. Again, this is a variable of our dashboard that some people like, some people don't like, and we added it because so many people are requesting this, and we do feel like it adds value if it's transparent. And what this is we also do a call drop, and what that looks like is, let me hide this real quick. So what we do is we can do it. Here's what we found out. Obviously, you don't like this. When somebody random calls your phone, you're not going to pick it up. You're just not going to. Right, so this allows you to go directly.
Especially when the first 6 numbers are the same as my own cell phone number.
right. So we don't as consumers anymore. We don't like to pick up cold calls. So why do I like to interrupt somebody's day when I can just go, hey Ruben, it's Jason. Listen, I'm going directly to your voicemail because you're probably busy. I don't want to annoy you. Excuse me. But I'm also going to send a text message right after that, and hopefully we can communicate. I'll send you a video email as well later on, right? So I can record that right from the dashboard, save that, and then right after that, send a text message, and again, follow up based on my outreach. So I'm utilizing voice, I'm utilizing video, I'm utilizing text. I'm utilizing email to be where the consumer wants to respond from, right? And so when they are responding, I'm getting the notification on my mobile app and on the web app, and I can drive that conversation from the Bonzo dashboard however I'd like to.
Got it. Amazing. So that's cool. So let me kind of show you something that's all of a sudden I was proud of it about 20 minutes ago, and now I'm a little bit embarrassed of it. But this is how we've kind of duct tape our own solution to do a lot of the stuff that Bonzo does. But now that I'm a little bit more apprised on the power of the platform, I definitely want to have Dubb sign up as a company. But I'll show you something that's slightly awkward here. And I'm going to make sure I don't share any sensitive information like people's cell phone numbers. So this here is an example of where we're using Google Voice.
Okay.
And this is like an outbound message that we might do with a Dubb video URL. And then this is actually an animated GIF. So, there's obviously some better practices here in how to do this, but this is how we've been doing it to date. The thing that is challenging with this is that we can't schedule, we can't automate, and we're kind of stuck to this Google Voice world. So, anyways, it goes without saying, I'm psyched about this. I'm psyched about this to use for Dubb, but then I'm also psyched for the Dubb community and then also the Bonzo community. So, bravo to you guys for building a really easy to use tool, and the sky's the limit here.
No, thanks, Ruben. I appreciate that. And like I said, our users are obsessed with video. They are just loving it. And the response that we're getting from their customers going, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that video. It meant the world to me that you're like, people connect right here. This is how we connect, especially now with everything going on. But when we see a face and we see eyes and we see features, right? Like it's just more of a human connection. And I think, in a digital world, how much more can we bring that into the conversation? We're going to win. So likewise, the appreciation on our end for you guys is at a very high level. So thank you.
Very cool. And then talk to us about pricing a little bit.
Yeah. So basically we have 3-tier pricing. It starts at $99 a month, and that'll basically get you covered. I mean, that gives you quite a bit of calls, of texts, of emails, and workflows. And you can add multiple team members to the account, which is cool because if you do have team members inside sales reps, you can even set up round robin scenarios. There's a lot of cool features that we just don't have enough time today to talk about, but the $99 certainly gets you to the table. And then anybody who is we're working out the details with Dubb, but anybody who is a Dubb partner is also going to receive an additional discount after that. So
nice. Very cool. And then you mentioned Zapier with automations. People love automations, especially now. We need to kind of 10x our efforts. So I want to understand the Zapier integration a little bit. So, I'll just kind of speak from our use case since it's just top of mind right now. So we have, an opt-in situation, first name, last name, email, phone, and then our goal is to do a customer support outreach situation where we just want to make ourselves available, hyper-personalized, hyper-conversational, provide, very specific support links that people might ask for, on email and also SMS. So how could that be automated? What kind of outbound messaging could be automated in that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all of it can, right? I mean, is with our integration with Zapier, anything is kind of possible, right? That's what we love Zapier. So as soon as you have, data coming into our system, it can be, as soon as it hits our system, it's automated out and it's on that sequence and it's on that workflow for however you built that out. We also have pre-built templates, so it again takes some of that heavy lift off the plate for the user. All they're having to do is, set up that Zapier account, pull the data in, and the workflow automation starts, and they're just responding to inbound opportunities at that point.
Nice. Very cool. Well, I'm sold.
Well, thanks for having me. This is great, man. This is really cool. Thank you for having me on this and having a conversation with your world.
Nice. Yeah. Getbonzo.com. We have a forwarding link there if you guys would like to use that. And then Dubb.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Ruben.
Thanks so much, Jason. Bye-bye now.